One of the best metal albums in September. We're going to round them up for you so you can get ready for the fall. First on my list is the Callous Dowboys with Celebrity Therapist. It's not very often that you get metal releases that hit the Forge Master's ears quite as often and as hard as this album did. The Dillinger Escape Plan is a band that's near and dear to my heart especially, and for many of us metalheads, we just miss them. And if your ears perked up at that, well, do I have a pleasantly huge surprise for you. This band graced our ears from our bud Icarus over at Metal Trenches. Thanks a bunch, bro. What a deliciously violent ride, showcasing pure mastery and meatiness, not only in the songwriting, but also the gorgeous production. The Callous Dowboys are an Atlanta-based technical metal band that expressed a wildly volatile mix of math metal, hardcore, and rock in just pure freeform genius. Celebrity Therapist knows just how to violently jolt you with force while also showing serious restraint into magnetic jazz territories. Honestly, this album sits toe-to-toe for me with some of the best records in mathcore and hardcore. Easily one of the best metal albums of the entire year. If you love things chaotic, 4.7 out of 5. Hooded Pals in a Field.
Folks, I can't tell you how excited I was to learn that Clutch was coming out with something this year. Clutch is a long-standing American hard rock band, and their 13th album, Sunrise on Slaughter Beach, is nothing short of monumental. The record doesn't have an ounce of fat on it, with 9 tracks and a total runtime of 33 minutes. The songs are catchy, unique, and the band isn't afraid to showcase some neck-cranking grooves. Check this one out. If we were to go back in time a la Bill and Ted and grab a blues musician from like the early 1900s, 1920s, something like that, I would show them this band to show them how far their legacy has come. Because more than most, I feel like Clutch has never lost sight of their roots as a blues rock band, and I respect the fuck out of them for that. This one's different in that it has some heavier vibes, but still, this is one of my favorites from this band, and I hold this band in very, very high esteem. 4.8 out of 5, Horseshoe Crab Riders.
Next on my list is an Abstract Illusion Woe, released 9 September, and the award for my favorite album cover of the year goes to Adam Burke for this outstanding piece. Just look at that thing, man. Absolutely phenomenal. This is my first run with an Abstract Illusion, and this album is everything that I love in a metal release. Brutal, emotional, dripping with atmosphere, and just totally bleak. I don't typically go for progressive metal releases very often, but everything here is executed with just perfection. The production is gorgeous, touting a fine balance of brutal and beautiful. I don't drink, but man, this oozes fine wine enjoyed in a gothic cathedral under glimmering candlelight as you slowly transform into hungry undead. The songwriting is just downright pristine, man, favoring twists and turns, but unafraid to jam on long and complicated and also instrumental and introspective sections in between the overwhelming viciousness in the riffing. If I had to compare Woe to any other bands in the scene, I'd say that there's a heavy dose of Watershed era Opeth mixed with modern Enslaved. However, where an Abstract Illusion massively excels beyond some of those fantastic bands are the soundscapes. They just outdo both Opeth and Enslaved in so many ways. This is my favorite album of the year so far. I can't stop spinning it. 5 out of 5, Bloodied Brides.
Oh boy! Coming into 2022, I wasn't expecting to be absolutely floored by a new Blind Guardian record, especially with how weak the latest Demons and Wizards was. I was kind of hoping for a little more from that record, but hey man, the God Machine absolutely crushes, showcasing a return to form in heaviness, speed, and technicality that we all know Blind Guardian is very capable of. I don't think the 2000s have been super kind to Guardian, with almost everything after Nightfall and Middle Earth, 1998, being rather ho-hum compared to their earlier works. The God Machine puts all of that to rest, unleashing some of the finest displays of talent and musicianship that this band has put out in decades. I could probably do a 5-minute video just about this record. I love it so much, but I will just urge you to check it out if you haven't already. This has a perfect score and will absolutely be on my year-end list. 5 out of 5 American Gods.
For those who love classic heavy metal vibes, next pick is Sumerlands' Dreamkiller, released 16 September. I absolutely love this band, and I will die on the hill that they're one of the best modern heavy metal bands around today, raising the flag of the old school style. Their debut album completely took me by surprise, partly because of the phenomenal songwriting, but also Phil Swanson's amazing vocals, reminiscent of Ozzy's iconic heavy metal wail, was just nailed. I was a bit disappointed to hear that Phil was no longer with Sumerlands, but holy shit, they found the best replacement. Brandon Radigan, which is a badass name, by the way, who used to be in Magic Circle, I was both pleasantly surprised and very, very intrigued and happy to say blown away by the performance that Brendan showed on this record. Magic Circle 2 is one of the best bands to come out of the Boston area, so I slammed the play button as hard as I could, and all I can say is, holy shit, these boys still got it. I love this record as much as the debut, even though the band seemed to favor more accessible songwriting and borderline ballad territory on some of the songs. The song Dream Warriors from Nightmare on Elm Street's Dream Warriors sounds like it belongs on this record too, so I'm not complaining. I give this album 4.5 out of 5 burning cars in the desert.
There have been a whole slew of bands pulling inspirations from the psychedelic sounds of the 1970s, incorporating analog production techniques and using equipment older than our parents to dial in that old vintage sound. King Buffalo is one of the best bands doing that right now, blending stoner metal with prog, space rock, and psychedelia to deliver the heaviest, most tripped out records of the 21st century. Coming right off the tails of their last album, Acheron, this is a fantastic release that has a lot of very similar qualities to Acheron. If you consider yourself a fan of tripped out heavy stuff, quit sleeping on King Buffalo. Regenerator has generated a score of 4.6 out of 5 glowing pink suns.
Fans of melodic death metal, rejoice! Wolfheart, King of the North, released 16 September. Wolfheart is a band that seems to keep picking up momentum somehow, like a warhorse, constantly pursuing its enemies. King of the North is a massive 9 tracks. While that is a huge undertaking to not only compose, but also listen to, I'm extremely happy to say that this album is a phenomenal piece from start to finish. Wolfheart have spent years perfecting their sound, and this is their most mature outing to date, touting huge emotional melodies, chest-shattering growling vocals, introspective lyricism, and also some captivating Finnish folklore. One cool thing about King of the North is every single song is a different story in Finnish mythology. You don't see too much in metal culture diving into the Finnish roots. I love the collaborations on this album too. Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage fame is on the Ancestor track, and it's one of the most powerful songs on the album. King of the North is easily one of the best albums in Wolfheart's catalog, and they've opened up some new tricks in their arsenal, showing that they have no signs of stopping anytime soon. I give this record 4.6 out of 5 Ancestral Skulls.
Probably probably saw this band on that stupid music competition show and were like, whoa, what the hell is this all about? Man, I love when bands dig into a tradition or a culture that seems to have been lost to the corridors of history, and they just inject something new and modern into something that's already incredible. The Who have done just that, taking world folk Mongolian music to a new level by spinning in heavy guitars and driving percussion to make music that Genghis Khan himself would stack bodies to. This is more of a hard rock album than a metal album, but I'm still not going to pass this one up, obviously. I enjoyed the Who out of it. This is a strong sophomore release. Rumble of Thunder gets 4.4 out of 5. Masters of the Hawk.
All right, black metal fans, Gaerea, Mirage released 23 September. If you told me you were going to create the next big thing in black metal, I would most likely laugh at you with huge doubt. There are so many bands doing that style these days, it's hard to stand out. And when Gaerea hit the scene, something was just different though. The mysticism, the visuals, and the songwriting were familiar, but they were packed so densely with mastery, it was so hard to ignore the band. I'm glad to hear too that Gaerea didn't sidestep from their sounds on Limbo and instead leaned harder into their flavor of black metal. I love when bands have that ability to pummel you with viciousness, but also make you feel. That is a huge component of why I love this band. Emotional characteristics are how you get me hooked especially, and I feel like Gaerea are masters of this craft. There's a weighty sense of solitude throughout the album, a feeling intense with moments of desolation. Unlike other black metal bands in this genre, Gaerea have unbelievable precision, massive gorgeous melodies, fascinating dynamics. This album couldn't have come out during a more perfect time for the fall. I cannot stop spinning it for this season. 4.7 out of 5, Hooded Phantoms.
Finally, a Revocation album that has landed in my lap that I'm really astounded by. For years, this band has leaned into a more technical adaptation of thrash metal, which, hey, look, it's fine for most of you, but that phase of my life quickly came and went when I was a teenager, and that's well behind me at this point. Some of their biggest albums just haven't done it for me. Until now, that is, folks. Nether Heaven feels like the band has finally found their own voice as a modern death metal band. Not having to lean into any one particular genre to scoop in their tropes or motifs. This album sounds like Floridian death metal 2.0, like the T-1000 of Floridian death metal. It's so fucking good, but I'm sure you already know this because it's been out for like a month now. 4.7 out of 5. Calories of morbid artistry.
And what were you loving back in September? Drop that down in the comments below. Go with the gods, Forge Masters. Don't let your dreams be killed. See you next time.